I guess one that's worth mentioning is the OpenJS conference next week. Hope to see people there for the conference and for the collaborator summit as well, where there's a number of sessions related to nodes. That'd be great to see everybody there. Let's move on then. I don't think so. Matteo, any board updates? If you're speaking, Matteo, you're on mute. I guess maybe we have some issue there, so no updates this week. Let's move on to number 1376, adding OpenJS Foundation staff as billing manager for Node.js Private. I think there's ongoing discussion there. There's discussion about like trimming back credits, those kinds of things. Does anybody have any concerns about adding one of the foundation staff as a billing manager if it makes sense at some point? Maybe I'll just make sure people can still hear me since I haven't heard anybody for a little while.
Makes sense.
Yeah, okay, thanks. Okay, I'll add a note and then I think I'll take it off the agenda at that point. The next one I think could be removed from the agenda as well, but I just posted it beforehand. I think that question. I believe Raphael was going to go and submit the project, although I haven't heard one way or the other. So I don't see any more questions in the issue itself. So maybe it can be taken off the agenda. Let's see. When was the submission date? Anyway, I'll figure that out and maybe take it off. The next one I put on the agenda just as an FYI for anybody who might want to run for the chair or vice chair. May is the month we do the elections. I proposed a schedule which is outlined similar to how we've done it in the past. And also there's a bit of time to discuss if people have any suggestions on, should we run the elections differently, do things differently before that kicks off. And then hello, Matteo.
Hi, sorry,
Hello.
I was present but late in the sense that I was on the call.
Okay. Any updates from the board? I might just pop back to that.
From the board, no, not really, nothing of relevance that we should be talking about. Something though that is actually very important. It's at the CPC level, we are proposing some changes to the bylaws of the foundation to simplify how the directors are elected. So those things are ready. So you should, I'm going to put the link in the minutes so that you can take a look, okay, essentially. But this is I think it's important that you take a look and you all are okay with it in that sense. And it's, it's important because this is, was our old, some of this reasoning is our old Node.js stuff. So, and I think it's important that we cover it. And I think it's simplifies a lot the changes, but it should be something that we are that we review. On that front, there are the two conferences. I hope I see most of you next week in Vancouver, and there will be a lot of other people from the foundation too. And then there is, I think, it's still open, the one for Bilbao. So I don't know. These are
the proposals closed yesterday, as far as
so yeah,
unless they
proposal
change
closed.
that.
Yeah. So I won't be in Bilbao though. So this is, sorry, it's not going to happen. Bilbao is not going to happen for me this year. But yeah, essentially that's the board. I don't think there is anything on the board that is. Let me just give it a quick check, but I don't think there is anything else. Go ahead if there is something.
Sure. Okay. So then we're down to the last item on the agenda, which is, I think, Matteo, you had added, which is related to the travel fund. And it's a discussion related to balancing the privacy and transparency. So do you want to lead that step?
Yes, there was a proposal. So back in a few years back, when we established the CPC, when we established the OpenJS Foundation and the CPC, we migrated the travel fund from being a Node.js thing to being a CPC and an OpenJS thing that all the projects could use, which is great. Okay, everybody loved the travel fund, I would say, for one reason or another. It had enabled a lot of things. Okay, so then it's what happens? Well, the world changes, okay, and all of that was public and is still public. So the part of the requirement to use the fund is that you publish the dates in which you're traveling, in which city you will be, what event you'll be part of, and so on and so forth. The problem with this is that there is a question on privacy. And the fact that some level of personal information, all of what I mentioned, will become public if and when somebody decide to use the travel fund. And these might be problematic for people. And it also causes some questions for us in case we got, for example, a GDPR request from one of those people to take down, to remove that information for whatever reason that they want it to be removed, even years later, essentially. So there are concerns on this front, and the question is, what should we do, and should we move it to private in the sense of CPCIs only, and or even worse, even more relaxed of OpenJS Foundation org members, so where anybody can ask to be or something like that. So just, putting out some feelings around that in this way.
Yeah, I think in the discussion so far, I don't think it's come to a closure yet, right? There's some discussion on merits of.
There was some discussion in the past.
Public.
There was some discussion in the past.
So I guess the key thing would be if people have concerns here or about it moving to be private submissions versus public, and as it is today, to jump into the discussion, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Does anybody in the call have any thoughts or questions or on that one?
I read this one. I think I need to think about it because I think, and I'll like kind of comment, I think personally, I've never asked for funds because I don't feel comfortable with the public nature of it. So it is like an interesting thing to bring up. And then there's the policy aspect of it. You know, how much privacy is the individual entitled to? Yeah, I think it's an interesting one. I'd have to think about it though. I'd like to weigh in on it.
Sounds good. Anybody else? Okay, if not, we'll move over to the section on the strategic initiatives. I'm just flipping into there. Joey, on the startup snapshot, anything you want to bring up on that one?
Sorry. We have an issue with the VA upstream where they were kind of changing the read-only heap snapshot a bit, so they are kind of blocked on some changes that we that are already opening. I've already opened in the core repo. So I suppose if they don't disable code cache in the upstream, they'll wait for us to land this first until they can be unblocked. Or like if they do disable, then when we do a VA upgrade, we need to get the fixes working until we can upgrade to the next version of VA with the changes that they were proposing. But I suppose that will be fairly late. So yeah, there is just a heads up.
So we're waiting for issues on V8. Is that when you say upstream, that's what you meant?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They were extending the stuff that they include in the read-only heap snapshot.
Okay.
And we don't our worker code doesn't really work well with that.
Okay.
And we also need to maybe change the code cache generation a bit to make it work with what they were doing. And they're also looking into ways to like just fix it on the VA side. So that we don't have to, we're still trying to figure out what's the best way to fix this. But I'll face the issue in the minutes.
Okay, sounds good. Darshan on single executable.
No major updates. I'm just addressing the review comments on my currently open SEA PRs.
Okay. On the next 10 front, the survey is closed. We have some summary data which we'll share at the Collaborator Summit, but I think we had over 1,600 respondents. So a big thank you to everybody who participated. And great to see that many people getting involved and answering all the questions. I think that's everybody that we have from that we have a strategic initiative, that we have a champion here. That takes us to the end of the meeting. Are there any other issues or topics that people would like to discuss before we close out? If not, thank you very much. I guess, Matteo, I assume you're at the conference next week and won't be able to chair the meeting.
I will be at the conference and I won't be able to chair the meeting.
Yeah, okay, that's the same with me. So I'll open an issue to see if there's any other volunteers in advance. But okay,
I have all things considered, we should probably cancel, but unless there is some pressing topic that we need to cover.
Yeah, I'll open an issue, see if somebody wants to jump in. Otherwise, yeah.
Can we stay on for a second on for
Sure.
a little bit of private section? Sorry.
Okay, I will. So thanks for everybody who for their time.